Well, Liam Delap is going to be leaving Ipswich this summer. He's got this clause in his contract which said that if Ipswich are relegated, he can go for £30 million. And obviously that's alerted a whole host of clubs. One of the clubs who are interested in him are Manchester United, but people have been putting two and two together and maybe coming to the wrong conclusion and thinking he wouldn't want to go to Manchester United because look where they are in the league table. They're not the force they used to be.
Yep.
Our information is that he's happy to move to Old Trafford, and he won't even necessarily be swayed by whether they're in the Champions League or not. Obviously, they've got this very important game against Spurs, Europa League final next week. If they win that, then they get into the Champions League. Is Liam Delap waiting for the result of that game before deciding if he wants to move to Old Trafford? I don't think he is. Perhaps it will play a part in his decision because he's got other clubs interested in him like Chelsea and Newcastle United. But I don't think we should make too much of the fact that players don't want to go to United because they're not in a great state at the moment. We've seen it with Matheus Cunha as well at Wolves. He's got this £65 million release clause. Manchester United are prepared to pay that. The player is prepared to go to Old Trafford, and I think Liam Delap would be happy to go to Old Trafford as well. And maybe it could turn out to be a great deal for United because he's proved himself in the Premier League this season with Ipswich, and he's got this very sort of gettable value for money release clause. £30 million is not a lot of money in today's transfer market.
No, it isn't, is it?
Especially for a forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Cunha could be an interesting signing for Manchester United. Any of those tempt you?
Caicedo, to be fair, I think he's been very good for Chelsea. Rodgers has been good. I mentioned him before. He did come into my mindset of the side where I put Mbeumo, because I think Rodgers had a fantastic season, but I think Mbeumo's numbers are just so big at a club like Brentford.
Probably Cunha. I had him in the first half of the season. Obviously, he had a ban. He missed a few games second half of the season, but you just look where Nottingham Forest are in the league compared to Wolves. They're just, Gibbs White was fantastic every time I watched them. Yeah, so he was that sort of floating player, an inside left pocket.
So let's finish on a thought on Cunha. If he is indeed on his way to Manchester United, what else do they need in that front three? If the Delap has been linked as well, there's even been talk of...
I don't think Delap should go to Man United.
You don't think he should, or do you think Man United should take Delap?
I just think... What happened to Højlund, sometimes I think when you're going from a team who've been relegated to... I know Man United are 16th, but it's Man United, one of the biggest clubs in the world. The eyes and ears, I just think that's such a big step. I know people might say it's from there to there in terms of league position, but Man United's a monster.
Do you think it's an upgrade on Højlund?
I do, but I don't think it... I just think almost that next step of like Everton or something. You know when you're going to play every week, you're going to be the main man, you're going to feel like one of the best players in the team. He's the best player in the team at Ipswich, everything goes through him. Go to like another club where you're that for 2 years, then go to that sort of Man United or Everton, a sort of team, sort of Champions League, or going to be trying to compete for that sort of level.
Yeah, look, if he comes, everyone will get behind him. He's a young player, but we've seen that, United have been a very tough place to play over this last few years for a lot of very experienced players. So we're right to express caution in terms of what's happening at United, in terms of, you need to be resilient, you need to be ready, and I hope that he can go in there and get off to a good start and have a great career there if that's the move that happens. But we are right to think about the things that have happened to other players. Højlund's coming at 70-odd million, Xerxes coming at 30-odd million. What's going to happen to them? Do they just leave? We saw Sancho come in, we've seen Anthony come in, Rashford's going to leave. It's interesting, and there's a good knowledge of Delap at United from the people who've come in at the sort of hierarchical level.
Jason Wilcox. Look.
Yeah, so Jason Wilcox has worked with him. He's obviously having a big say on this. Omar Barada obviously at City as well, so they've done their... So they've had a good understanding of his game and a good understanding of his character, which is helpful. But Manchester United is a different animal, and I think that, I hope he does well there.
We're reporting on Sky Sports News that Matheus Cunha is this close to signing for Manchester United. What do you think?
I think it's a great signing. I think he's a brilliant player. I love watching him play. We're going to pick our team of the season tonight, but he was in my team of the halfway point of the season, so we had a great start to the season. I watched him at Man City a few weeks ago. He looked really sharp, quick, and we know how the manager at Manchester United wants to play. He likes sort of 2 number 10s in his team, and I think he'd fit perfectly.
What does that mean for the likes of, say, Alejandro Garnacho?
Well, it's certainly not good news because I think Ahmad might play one of those other positions alongside Cunha or maybe Bruno Fernandes at different times. And there is a lot of talk about Garnacho moving on because I think he's come through the academy system and we know what that means for the PSR of the club. And we also know Man United have got, a few problems with that issue right now. So I think if a decent offer comes in for Garnacho, I think probably Man United will take that.
Interesting. So we've spoken about Cunha coming in. Are you surprised that given their current plight, they're still able to attract top-class players?
No. I think Manchester United are a fantastic football club, one of the biggest in the world, and there will always be that allure of, playing at Old Trafford and the theatre of dreams and the history that the club have got. That, Man United will all have that. I played for a club at times, Liverpool, who weren't always near the top of the table, and you're still attracting good players. Maybe not as good as you could get if you were at the top of the table, that's obvious, but it's Man United.
Of course, they're in the Europa League final this week. You said on the overlap, United will win that final. Why?
I just think they're used to winning big games. I don't think there's too much to, pick between the teams. We can see that from the league table. I just